What is a true fact that sounds like a conspiracy theory? The dolphin LSD experiment. NASA put a woman in a room that was flooded up to her hips and let a dolphin loose in there to live with her in order to attempt to teach the dolphin to speak English, and LSD was later used on the dolphin to see if it had some kind of reaction and if it affected its speech lessons. You forgot the best part, where apparently the dolphin was constantly horny, so the lady had to keep jerking it off. It's even better than that, because before it got to that, they used to bring in a female dolphin for conjugal visits, but the scientists decided that interacting with another dolphin would have a negatively impact on his ability to learn. Johnson & Johnson knew there was asbestos in baby powder for 40 years. Link in description. They were just doing asbestos they could. Saddam Hussein was given the key to the city of Detroit, and he didn't even try unlocking it once. What a waste. The reason only the orange variety of carrots is widely available is because the Dutch like the color orange. They leverage their powerful trade networks to make it so. I love that everything else on this thread is about assassination and biochemical warfare, and then there's just the Dutch wanting everyone to think only orange carrots are available. The CIA ran experiments with LSD at McGill University in Montreal. Hey, it was the Cold War. If you weren't experimenting with LSD, you weren't trying. Project Azorian. Link in description. Close bracket. Project Azorian was a US Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, project to recover the sunken Soviet submarine K-129 from the Pacific Ocean floor in 1974, using the purpose-built ship Glomar Explorer at a cost of about $800 million, or $4 billion today. Take a giant cargo ship, hack a secret hatch in the bottom of it big enough to fit a submarine, and rig up an enormous grappling hook, then go submarine fishing. Oh. And, U.S. military donates 2 more powerful than Hubble telescopes to NASA, out of the blue. Link in description. Close bracket. Key fact. 1 and 2 are not only equipped with the same 7.9 foot mirrors as is the Hubble, they're also fitted with secondary mirrors that improve focusing. Yeah. The DOD got bored with having 2 more advanced than Hubble top secret telescopes on the shelf, so casually donated them to NASA in 2012. Double Hubble budget bubble trouble. Nice. The US conducted a fake vaccination drive to find Osama bin Laden. The CIA organized a fake vaccination program in the town where it believed Osama bin Laden was hiding in an elaborate attempt to obtain DNA from the fugitive Al-Qaeda leader's family, a Guardian investigation has found. Link in description. Close bracket. This still has repercussions in the region. People in that specific area still don't believe that vaccinations are real, with the result that polio has made a sordid comeback. Sad really. Pakistan just recently stopped polio vaccinations due to attacks on aid workers. The egg industry as a whole embarked on a 2-year war on a single vegan mayo brand. Do go on. Generally curious now. The Hawaiian royalty was toppled by a fruit company, Dole. Fruit companies did all sorts of crazy and terrible shit. GM bought the electric rail car system, then destroyed the tracks. The documentary Who Killed the Electric Car has a great summary of this, and other things GM have done to make sure cars are the dominant form of transportation. The Monster Study. Link in description. Close bracket. The Monster Study was a stuttering experiment performed on 22 orphan children in Davenport, Iowa in 1939. It was conducted by Wendell Johnson at the University of Iowa. Graduate student Mary Tudor conducted the experiment under Johnson's supervision. Half of the children received positive speech therapy, praising the fluency of their speech, and the other half, negative speech therapy, belittling the children for speech imperfections. Many of the normal speaking, orphan children who received negative therapy in the experiment suffered negative psychological effects, and some retained speech problems for the rest of their lives. There's some things that shouldn't need experimentation to confirm. If your study boils down to we're going to tell a bunch of orphans they suck at talking, and see if it fucks them up long term, I feel like we should probably just make a worst case assumption on that one. The FBI was constantly stalking Ernest Hemingway, and that led to his suicide. But why? Ernie liked to travel to Cuba. Cuba even made a stamp of Hemingway. Hemingway, being extremely popular and a world-class writer, could very quickly and effectively sway public opinion if he wanted to, by publishing a well-written book or essay. The FBI didn't want any surprises. Project Sunshine, link in description. In which the US government, in the wake of dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ordered a major study to better understand the effects of radiation exposure/nuclear fallout on the human body. So an international network of agents was recruited to locate recently deceased children and steal body parts from them to use for testing. Scary but very true. I'm an X-ray student and we talk about this a lot in class. A lot of rules and regulations regarding medical radiation exposure are all based off data from exposed Japanese citizens. So what were the findings? The CIA has a real deal heart attack gun. It was exposed to the public in the 70s. Not only does the US Gov have a heart attack gun, it also has other means of sci-fi spy weapons, such as mounted radar dishes that can cause mass hysteria for crowd control via high pressure frequency waves, among other crowd manipulation devices. The US government did biological warfare testing on the public in San Francisco. Bioweapon testing in San Francisco. Link in description. Close bracket. The FBI sent an anonymous letter to Martin Luther King Jr., telling him to kill himself. Link in description. The FBI invented Sparks Chat. The FBI fucked MLK's mom. Operation Paperclip. Recruit Nazi scientists and insert them into key government tech operations after WWII. This is how the world transitioned from the German V2 rocket to NASA and the ICBM in the span of 30 years. After the war ended, we were snatching up crowd scientists like hotcakes. You don't believe me? Walk into NASA sometime and yell Heil Hitler. Whoop. They all jump straight up. Mariaja. It's entirely possible to receive your tax forms pre-filled by the US government. They already have all your information. And this is the way it's done in other Western nations. Unfortunately, the owners of TurboTax have paid off enough congressmen to keep it from happening. In fact, they are not content with just stopping it. They want to make sure it's impossible forever. And they are about to succeed. Link in description. Close bracket. Happy tax day. Here in Sweden we have had the option of saying yup, these pre-filled numbers checks out, and I don't have any additional deductibles via SMS for more than 10 years. This means you get your returns at an earlier date, since no actual human needs to be involved. Project Northwoods. JFK was proposed an idea from the CIA in which they would rain terror on the American people via random terrorist attacks, military ships being sunk, and plane hijackings in which they would blame on Cuba, and therefore get the public behind the idea to go to war with Cuba. Thankfully, JFK declined. These types of plans are proposed all the time. False flags are a way to establish policy. Hopefully they aren't done most of the time. Hopefully. Lusitania. The US government pardoned hundreds of Japanese war criminals who did things that would have made Joseph Mengele blush in exchange for their research on biological warfare that they conducted on live human subjects. Link in description. In the 1990s the Canadian government were using a homosexual detector called the Fruit Machine to find gay men and fire them from their jobs. Gaydar. It was more like a polygraph with gay porn. The FBI murdered Fred Hampton. The ancient Egyptians had a pregnancy test that actually worked. I'm listening. 1350 BCE. One of the earliest written records of a urine-based pregnancy test can be found in an ancient Egyptian document. A papyrus described a test in which a woman who might be pregnant could urinate on wheat and barley seeds over the course of several days. If the barley grows, it means a male child. If the wheat grows, it means a female child. If both do not grow, she will not bear at all. Testing of this theory in 1963 found that 70% of the time, the urine of pregnant women did promote growth, while the urine of non-pregnant women and men did not. Scholars have identified this as perhaps the first test to detect a unique substance in the urine of pregnant women, and have speculated that elevated levels of estrogens in pregnant women's urine may have been the key to its success. Link in description. Okay, but how did they discover this? Were they just like, I wonder if I'm pregnant, let me piss on my dinner and see if it grows? Some ladies may have discovered it after peeing in a garden. I'm sure it had to have happened several times over a period of years. Yeah, that makes more sense than my comment. Both the US and Russia used dolphins and whales to spy on countries. Like, now, I know they tested shit a while back. Can I get some more info? Yeah, Norway found one just last weekend. Link in description. Close bracket. Why is this so funny? I imagine the beluga ping back like comrades, I've been made. Fuck. Where did I put that cyanide krill? Not really a conspiracy, but I recently read that the Department of Navy and DARPA released Tor to the general public, so people could create enough noise to mask the real agents who would need it. Turns out that, if you control about +/-30% of the nodes, you can triangulate entry and exit connections. What do these words mean? During Prohibition, the US government added poisons to industrial alcohols because they were being chemically modified for consumption. This resulted in many deaths that the government justified by saying the dead had been breaking the law. Alcohol not meant for consumption is still poisoned in the USA. Bohemian Grove. Some of the world's most rich and powerful men meet up for a retreat in California and do weird shit around an owl shrine. I'm in Cali, who wants to crash it? Why not at this point? I'll hit up Alex Jones. Project Acoustic Kitty. Link in description. Close bracket. Basically, the CIA wanted to put microphones and transmitters inside of cats and use them to spy on the Soviets in the 1960s. It cost about $20 million and was a huge failure. Allegedly, the first attempt at this resulted in the cat running out into the street and getting run over by a car almost immediately. Canada has amassed 90% of its population within 100 miles of the US border. Something like 90% of Australia's population is 10 miles from the coast. Similar reasons, opposite climates. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. The purpose of this study was to observe the natural history of untreated syphilis. The African American men in the study were told they were receiving free health care from the United States government. None of the men were told that they had the disease, and none were treated with penicillin even after the antibiotic was proven to successfully treat syphilis. That's fucked up on so many levels.